Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into her side, Chief. We just delivered the bomb. The Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men went into the water. Vessel went down in 12 minutes. Didn't see the first shark for about a half an hour. Tiger. 13-footer. You know how you know that in the water, Chief? You can tell by looking from the dorsal to the tail. What we didn't know was that our bomb mission was so secret, no distress signal had been sent. They didn't even list us overdue for a week. Very first light, Chief. Sharks come cruising by, so we formed ourselves into tight groups. The idea was the shark come to the nearest man, and man he'd start pounding and hollering, and sometimes that shark he'd go away. But sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes that shark looks right at you, right into your eyes. And the thing about a shark is he's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't even seem to be living. Till he bites you, and those black eyes roll over white, and then... and you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming. The ocean turns red, and despite all your pounding and hollering, those sharks come in, and they rip you to pieces. You know, by the end of that first year, I lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks there were, maybe 1,000. I do know how many men. They average 6 an hour. At noon on the 5th day, Lockheed Ventura swung in low, and he spied us, a young pilot. Not younger than Mr. Hooper there. Anyway, he spotted us, and a few hours later, a big old fat PBY come down and start picking us up. You know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So 1,100 men went into the water. 316 men came out. The sharks took the rest. June the 29th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the bomb.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revelation.
I am so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Nice thing, big boy, huh? That's Brock.
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Welcome to Facing Off. This is a podcast in which Gabe and I take 2 movies with some sort of thematic similarity and we talk about them, we compare and we contrast them because they're 2 movies and we like to talk.
Yeah.
So that's us. It's our podcast. It's called Facing Off. Woo!
That is our exact tagline. Exactly what Nick just said. What's up, Nick?
Quick disclaimer, this podcast has proven aggressive towards boats. So if you are listening on a boat,
yeah.
careful.
Be careful, all ye who wander.
All ye. Yep, all ye. LA County has opened up beaches, so we are talking about The Meg and Jaws today. How are you, Gabe?
Yeah, it's going to be really safe for you guys to go out in the water. You know, coronavirus on land, sharks in the water.
Sharks in the water.
I'm good, man. Dude, I almost just want to say it very quickly on this podcast, but I have just had a nightmare run with fucking UPS and Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
The least important thing to be purchasing on Amazon. So I don't really care, but I bought an exercise bike 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Or I had originally bought one, and then it said it wasn't going to be here until May 15th to the end of May. So I was like, okay, I'll cancel this. And I saw another one that was we'll deliver it by May 8th, on Friday. If you do it right now, we'll get it by 8 p.m. on that day. And I was like, it probably won't, but even that guarantee was fine if it was a few days later. So they told me that it was being delivered. So it came from Redlands, and we went to school in Redlands. Redlands is 68 miles away from where I live. And it left on May 7th on a Thursday, and I still have not received it. And each day UPS has given me, they keep telling me that there's a destination scan, and if you go on their website, they say that's the last step before it gets delivered. They've told me it's being delivered at a specific time. Once you get your scheduled delivery date, that's when you get it. that has changed each day. Some days they just go silent and don't tell me. There's no updates. It's literally just being passed around in LA. I bet they're having so much fucking fun at my expense.
They're just riding your exercise bike.
Yeah, they're just riding it in the
warehouse
truck, or in the warehouse. But anyways, yeah, it's just crazy. And like, the worst thing is that UPS right now does not have any live customer service, like Messenger or phone.
Nothing. So you're just gonna get fat as hell.
Yeah, I'm getting fat as hell, dude.
You're gonna be real tasty for those sharks once you get back in that water.
Yeah. So you know what? Oh, also, I got an anti shout out.
Oh yeah.
Hey, if you're a person and you do choose to wear a mask in public, which you should, it is advised that you do that. Don't leave your nose out. The amount of people I've
Put
seen
it
with
over
their
your nose,
fucking
you
nose,
lazy idiot.
Dude, I've seen so many people. There was someone, I was waiting in line at the grocery store the other day, and we were all clearly spaced out like 5 to 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
She walks right up to me, literally, and she's like, I think she was Brazilian, and she was like asking me where a Target was, and she was grabbing her mask with her hands and pulling it down so she could talk to me.
Bro,
and
we can hear you,
I'm
man.
like trying to go away from her, and then she started following me into the store.
Hey, it's not that hard. Also, if you're like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask, like, it's not fashionable. Shut up, idiot. Put your mask on.
Yeah, everyone that's like so patriotic until the point where
get
they're
a
like,
cooler
wear a
mask then, you
yeah,
idiot.
Exactly.
Find one that works for
get
your
a
face.
tiger mask. Get the Bane mask.
All right,
also,
that's enough.
shout out to the San Jose Sharks.
The fire
Just
rises,
kidding,
brother.
fuck them.
Why? What happened to them? What do they do?
Oh, just because we're doing movies about sharks, and I
see.
And they're my team. Sort
Yeah.
of.
Can't think of anything else that involves sharks that I want to shout down. So,
you want to hit us with some synopses?
These are the synopses. We're doing the Meg versus Jaws because they're both movies about big old sharks that are scary. That's pretty much it. Yeah. We're doing them now because it's almost summer. These are both streaming on HBO. Stop right now before I spoil them. Go watch them both on HBO. If you haven't seen Jaws yet, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is really good.
It's one of my favorites.
I think it's just not advertised well in terms of conversation. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too scared to watch this. It's a shark movie. And that was what I thought it was.
Dude,
you convinced me in college to watch it because you're like, no, it is like it's a movie about men, dude, and about fucking arrogance.
And it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
it is
so
exceptionally well made. Here we go. Okay. The Megan is about a group of researchers who have discovered that the bottom of the ocean is actually just a cloud that hides an entire ecosystem under the sea. Under the sea. Darling, it's better. Down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we devotin' full time to floatin', under the sea, the researchers run into trouble and accidentally cause a thermal tunnel that allows a massive prehistoric shark called a megalodon to pass through and into the actual ocean, not the below ocean.
My God, it's megalodon.
The researchers convince the best diver ever, Jason Statham, played by Gabe Siegel, to come out of retirement and hunt the Meg. They capture the Meg, but it's not actually the Meg. It's the Meg's baby or a smaller Meg? It's unclear. The real Meg then destroys the boat, munches on some beachgoers before Statham stabs it in the eye and it dies. The end. That's pretty much what happens. There's some other stuff.
The game had changed, but the players were the same.
That's true. Jaws takes place on and near a popular tourist destination called Amity Island, as the island's wholesome but aquaphobic police chief, Brody, must disobey the walking coronavirus allegory that is Mayor Vaughn and keep his island mates safe from a massive shark that is eating summer beachgoers. Brody, a shark researcher named Hooper, and the crusty, alcoholic, arrogant sea hermit Quint set out to hunt a 25-foot shark, all 3 tons of him. They realize quickly that they need a bigger boat. But in a show of toxic Ahab-esque pride, Quint smashes their boat's radio and the 3 men must hunt the most dangerous fish in the ocean alone. They do, but the great white proves itself to be an almost preternaturally strong foe as it tows the boat along, pulls multiple flotation devices down below the surface, and eventually just full-on body slams the boat into submission. It appears to devour a diving Hooper, definitely 100% scarfs down Quint, and it makes a run at Brody, who manages last second to shoot a pressurized air tanker in the shark's mouth, thus exploding the predator. Hooper surfaces alive, and he and Brody paddle to safely. Safely?
Safely. Yeah, they
Safely.
paddled to Safely.
Safely Island.
Nice. Yeah. So obviously we're doing them because beaches are opening back up. The summer is starting. These are 2 summer blockbusters, and because we don't get any this year, at least not in theaters, we wanted to do this. And also sharks.
And also sharks.
This movie is like Jaws especially, but I think both kind of are in a certain way. It's just so relevant to what's happening right now. Like people just won't.
The allegory is strong.
People won't give up simple recreational fun to save lives when there is clear and present danger.
Yeah.
And it is like when he's telling the mayor about possibly reopening the beach in August. He's like, no way we wait until August. And that is literally
There's
what's
so many good
happening right
lines.
now.
There's so many good lines. It goes, we got to shut it down for 24 hours. And then someone in the crowd at the press conference goes, 24 hours? That's like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's such a good.
It's an amazing line.
All
right.
Cool, yeah.
Let's get into this. So we're going to use our normal categories, the typical 5, acting, spectacularity, originality, eye candy, and legacy, but in an order that Gabe came up with right before this.
Yep. Each category rated from 1 to 7, 1 being lowest, 7 being highest, 4 being middle, neutral, average, bam, boom, bing. Let's start it off with spectacularity, because these are both spectacle movies. Let's start with Jaws. Spectacularity is where we talk about the engagement level of the movie, how fun it was, whether you were distracted by runtime, whether you were distracted by stupidity.
Dude, speaking of runtime, I've had so much coffee this morning.
Oh, man, because he went on a run, too, and he's had the runs.
Yeah, it's
yeah, so, I mean, Jaws is fucking spectacular. This is like
Did
one
you
of
give
the...
it a 7 or a 6?
A 7.
You
I
did?
think it's
Okay,
the
I did
most...
too.
I think it's one of the most engaging movies ever.
Yeah, and you know what it is that I never really realized before this rewatching? Because you only seen it the one time in college, right?
Right. No,
This
I've
is-
seen it twice. 1.5 times.
This is another one I watched with my dad when I was little. Dude,
Hey, Dad.
Side note, I watched if you watch the second Jaws, in the first 20 minutes, it's, spoiler alert, Brody's son is an adult and gets his arm ripped off by a shark as he's like trying to reach into the water in the dark. Terrifying.
Stolen by It.
The
for sure.
entire first Jaws, this one that we're talking about, didn't scare me as a kid. The first 15, 20 minutes of the second one, never wanted to go in the water.
Well, that's
again.
just kind of like what ended up happening with the series and what's happened with movies since then.
And I mean, Jaws is like, what it is about Jaws, this is what I was going to get into, but I sidetracked myself. It's the third act.
Yeah, I mean,
The third act of Jaws is like one of the best third acts of a blockbuster movie ever. And
Yeah.
that's when they are on the orca.
I actually don't even we don't need to skip ahead to that. This is one of the best opening scenes to a movie to hook you into a movie. The party with the drunk people and the
Where are
girl.
we going?
The way the girl dies is like a haunting scene that will you never want to go night swimming again. Also, very simply for the whole movie, the John Williams score is just it's iconic, amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently, he first showed it to Spielberg, and Spielberg thought he was joking. And he's like, no, where's the real one? And he's like, no, this is it. And then he ended up winning Best Score at the Academy Awards.
That's
and
awesome.
it's I could always think of this score. Every single aspect of it, not just the dun 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 dun. The rest of it is so...
Yeah, there's they use it so well, so spectacularly in the third act of the movie where it seems...
When he's dropping into the cage.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's also this part of the score that's really live and upbeat. And as we were watching it, Julie was like, "This score doesn't match," and I was like, "No, just keep watching."
Oh yeah, when it looks like they're getting ready, when they're running around the boat and
it looks like they're winning.
Yeah,
and so the score at that
point.
point is really airy and light, and then
Right.
they are very much not winning, and the score is leads. I mean, it's manipulative, but it's fine. It leads you on that emotional journey with them.
So I actually think before even the third act, I think one of the most engaging, spectacular movie scenes, a classic movie scene, is the first beach scene. That not the drunk opening, but the first scene when Chief Brody is watching everyone at the beach.
Yeah,
and there's so many moving characters, and it's purposefully you trying to guess who's gonna die, and you're watching around and he's watching, and it looks gorgeous. There's that iconic zoom into Roy Schneider's face. So similar. Your heart is racing. His stress acting is so good, and then it ends with a fucking kid getting gruesomely murdered by a shark. And honestly, there are a couple side points. One, those kids who have the fake shark fin deserve to be
Those are the worst
hanged
kids.
in the middle of the street.
Oh my God, they're children.
They're horrible children. I would have fucking spanked them until they died. And then, most importantly,
cut the pod.
Most importantly, can we talk about that old man's tits?
Yeah, ew.
They're the grossest tits I've ever seen.
Dude? That was not okay. There's also that line, "Bad hat." That's a bad hat, Harry.
Oh yeah,
which
yeah.
is like now, like totally just the phrase for what company is that?
BadHatHarry.com.
Yeah, isn't it?
And this episode is brought to you by BadHatHarry.com. Enter in facing off promo code.
Dude, that
you know
zoom
the,
in
like-
on Brody's face in that scene is like such an iconic shot. And one of the things that I was thinking of is you don't really see the shark in that scene.
No.
You don't actually see the shark until the pond scene
Right.
with his son, where the shark, you see the shark just a bit when it eats the one other guy near
Right.
them, and even then you don't really get an idea of how big the shark really is.
Right, and
you don't figure it out
moment
until
they
the
show
third
you,
act.
but the moment they show you is the really, really famous scene where he's feeding chum into the water and the shark comes up and then he whips his head, like that whipping his head up is one of the most iconic shots too, and then slowly backs up and he's like, "You're gonna need a bigger boat,"
Which is an
And then it's just
ad-lib,
it's an ad-lib line that is
So
also
good.
like one of the most misquoted lines. And then, because everyone says we're gonna need a bigger
Yeah.
boat, and then it's just like everything after that. I mean, that's the point. Everything after that is like the most engaging movie ever made.
Yeah, and I mean, but here's the thing: are we ready to transition to the Meg?
No, can I say one bad thing?
Yeah.
I don't like how this movie ends. Jaws ends really abruptly.
It does end really
Brody
abruptly.
like seems almost unfazed that he just watched Quint die in like one of the most gruesome ways possible.
Uh-huh.
It's like it is so shocking and quick how he dies.
And the sound it makes when it like
when
actually
it's eating
snaps him.
Oh god! And then he's like unfazed, and they're paddling to shore, and it's like you just forgot that the first 2/3 of the movie are about the town, and then like the town's not even a part of it.
Yeah,
at
not
the end.
even really.
But that's it. I mean, it's a 7. It's the most.
I get it, but like, here's the thing about that scene where you see how big the shark is, because you actually don't even really know how big the shark is until a little while after Brody says you're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right.
Because then you see it swim by the boat, and you're like, oh my god, the shark is as big as the boat.
And
he's
then
like,
it tows the boat.
It's 20 feet long, and he goes 25, all 3 tons of them. So here's the thing: 25 feet is the size of the shark, which would be I think the largest great white shark ever discovered if it was real.
Hey, if you're a great white shark out there and you're bigger than 25 feet,
Give us a call. Shoot us an email. The shark in the Meg is 75 feet long. Took us. We had to do the math when we were watching it last night with Aaron and Jimmy. But it's 75 feet long. But here's the thing: it doesn't even seem. It's not as scary because it's not like this visceral, real threat. It's this like CGI
fake
monster.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. Like, you don't see the Meg for a prolonged time in the Meg as well. But then there's, like, when you get the payoff, there's no real payoff.
Right.
And, like, we can talk about how the shark should have looked different in the Meg. It's based on a book. And the sharks, the megalodons in the book, have adapted over time so that they don't have
Wait, the
pigmentation.
Meg is based off of a book?
Yes, loosely. It's a 1999 book.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I gave it a 1.
Yeah, so I'm fluctuating because I do think it is distracting at every single turn. I think every single moment of the movie is so dumb to a point where I'm distracted. It seems, I said this multiple times when we were all watching it. So we watched with our buddies Jimmy and Aaron as we did with Snowpiercer. And I said during it, it seems like one of those fake movies that is within another movie that the characters are watching in that movie. That is like purposely supposed to be like, oh, this is what Hollywood makes, like a fake movie.
Which is so funny because the movie was greenlit in the 90s.
Oh,
after the book came out.
See, I honestly would have rather seen the 90s version.
And then it never came to fruition. At a certain point, Clooney was tied to it.
I thought we should have
it
gotten
didn't
that.
come out
But it
until
also feels
2018.
like the movie feels like what MacGruber is making fun of. Like, the main character, Jason Statham, is literally like a
Yeah.
MacGruber-esque character, and every single line just feels like what they're purposely making fun of. I thought the beginning of this movie, when I was watching it, so I watched the first 20 minutes, and then I stopped so we could all watch together, drunk, and then I thought the first... like 10 minutes of it, I thought they were joking. I thought it was like a fake movie in it, and you were gonna find out that Jason Statham's like an actor that's gonna be like a diver.
There's
for
a
them
review
later.
of the movie that says it's not good or bad enough to be good.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
don't think
so
it's
true.
like it's a purposely a B movie. I don't think it's absurd enough to be like
No,
super engaging.
not really.
But I think there are fun things. Like, I think everything that happens at the maybe Taiwan beach, is horrible. But there's something that visually that you're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's so
I
dumb.
do. The only thing
I don't care about
I'm
this
actually
movie.
not going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a
2. That's
either
where
a
I'm at.
2 or a 3 in spectacularity.
No, 2. I honestly want to give it a 1. I just can't say that it's
There
not,
is
like-
one. There are a couple legitimately decent scenes where we're all like, "Oh, whoa, okay."
No, I disagree because I know what you're talking about, and I'm bringing this up later.
All right,
But-
fine. But one of the things that I have a problem with it is it mirrors way too closely Jaws, and I'll sprinkle that in as we go. But like,
For
you
sure.
can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. I just think like if you're gonna make a
You
B,
can't- yeah.
I think that this movie was trying to be an A movie, and it was a B movie, and
You
it wasn't
can't-
even stupid
You
enough.
can't
to be
make
a
it. You
movie.
can't make a movie like The Meg and pay homage to like Jaws that came out 33 years before and just like beats your ass in every category.
And I
You
actually
just
think,
can't.
like, speaking of which, like, our next category, acting, I think is where you could find, like, a very big divide.
Yeah.
Acting is where we talk about the performances and whether the actors were good and whether the directors and writers gave them the tools that they needed to be good. And, I mean, let's stick with the Meg. Like, I think this might be my first one acting out of 7. Like, I don't think a single person carried this movie. I don't even think Jason Statham did well in this movie. I thought he was joking. I literally thought the first few scenes he was like playing a character like he did in Spy, where he's like making fun of himself to a certain degree, but he's not.
It's such a funny, like, archetypal character. He's like the guy who went into retirement because he's over this shit, and they're like, "We got to bring you out of retirement." Except for he's a diver,
Yeah, a military-esque
a really
diver.
good diver.
I don't know. And like,
And then they bring
like-
him out of retirement, and they're like, "Your ex-wife's at the bottom of the ocean." He's like, "My ex-wife."
I feel like there was no depth to any of the characters.
No, he
and they're
becomes an
like-
alcoholic, and then he just drops booze cold turkey, and he's chilling.
Yeah, there's
too.
like there's nothing to these characters. Like the extent of how hard the directors and writers are trying to like help this movie is like they focus in on Rainn Wilson's Nikes when he jumps off the helicopter to be like, whoa, this guy's like kind of like Samuel L. Jackson in Kingsman, where he's like kind of cool, techie
Yeah.
billionaire who's like secretly evil. And it's like, no. you
Rainn
can't
Wilson
just show us
delivers
shit.
every line by laughing first and then stating something that's like not like really a great sentence.
I think he has some of the worst lines
He
I've
does.
ever
It's
heard in a
amazing.
movie.
I'm giving it a 2, and only because
No.
Jason Statham is pretty much always the same in everything, and he's never like. I'm never like, oh, he's so. I just don't. There's so little that I expect out of the Meg, especially considering that they hired on Chinese actors because it's a joint Chinese and
Venture, yeah.
American production.
Right.
Like, I'm just gonna give him a break, but I'm pretty sure that Jason Statham's an android.
Dude, this movie...
He's not real, right? Like, he's just like like he's just pretending to be a human being so that one day he can defeat The Rock in hand-to-hand combat.
yes, that would be... I agree with that.
Yeah, he's just gonna catch him off guard or let The Rock age to a point
know
where
how
he
I know-
can defeat him. I don't understand.
You know how I know this
He's
movie
not
is
real.
not good acting wise is because Cliff Curtis is in it, and I don't even think Cliff Curtis is a bad actor. I just think if you look up Cliff Curtis right now and you see his IMDb and you just see his face, you'd be like, oh wow, that guy's in like almost all of the really bad movies from the last few years, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and like he's just not. I always, if I see him, I'm nearly positive it's not going to be a movie that I like.
That's
personally.
fair. Yeah.
There are some lines that I want to highlight that are said by some of the shit characters in it. Last time I checked, landslides don't make 90-degree turns.
Amazing.
Or
It's true.
Insertion. Insertion.
Yeah.
Insert.
Yeah.
The megalodon was thought to be extinct for millions of years. Wrong. Yeah,
Yeah.
no fucking shit, guy. We all just saw
And it's
it.
so weird because Jason Statham doesn't ever actually see the megalodon in the first scene. Like he
just
doesn't
calls
know
it
that it's alive.
Yeah.
He never sees it. It just attacks the submarine he's on, and he's like, "Oh, it's attacked the submarine." It's
Yeah,
like you don't know what it
he's
was,
shocked
dude.
for
How do you
sure.
know?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I think the little girl in it might be the best actress,
She
and that's
is.
why I'm giving it a
Mei?
1. It's a 1. It's the worst acting.
Fair
I hate
enough.
this
Jaws,
movie.
I gave a 6.
Okay, I am the same.
I think that there are some not so great side character actors. The old man with the titties is just, I just can't.
What
with
about
that
the one guy that's like, what kind of shark is it? Come on, what kind? And he goes, a tiger shark. A what?
Oh, what? Yeah, dude, what is that guy? I don't. I think
great.
that. I mean, my favorites are Dreyfus and Shaw. But I mean, Chief Brody's obviously amazing.
Yeah,
there are
it's-
just some times that I'm not 100% into Chief Brody's character, but then there are scenes like the one where he's with his son.
The give us a kiss.
Yeah.
Why? Because I need it.
Yeah.
And his son's like impersonate. Dude, that's like
that
a
kind of give you
beautiful-
some depth into his character, and you
That's
kind of
fucking
know why
Spielberg
he's
right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you kind of know why he's like emotionally stunted a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's
I-
very close. It was very close to a 7 for me.
I think he's like, his acting is really nuanced, and I don't even think I loved his acting the first few times I saw it. I think it was
Yeah.
Dreyfus and Shaw for me, but I don't know. I think Schneider like really kills it. Robert Shaw is like legendary in this. Apparently he was like a huge alcoholic asshole on set,
I read that
and his
too.
monologue is fucking crazy in that light because what happened was he like got way too drunk and thought it was going to be like good to do the monologue, and it was like
They couldn't use it.
incomprehensible, and he called Spielberg that night and was like really apologetic and like sad, and Spielberg let him redo it, and he did it in one take the next day, and
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I think I did it better, but it was good. Richard Dreyfuss, so young, sarcastic, love it. I love that him and Shaw like literally hated each other on set, so they kept that in there. And then he does that.
Amazing.
It made, dude, the scene like such a man scene when they're just drunk sharing like scars.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, look at
stories.
this one."
It's, dude, the mayor is amazing in this. So arrogant
Mayor
and
Vaughn?
so fun. He has like the sickest nautical themed jacket that I want with the anchors on it.
Just how much of an allegory for Donald Trump is he?
Oh, he's like exactly like that. Dude, when he forces that guy to go into the water,
Yeah.
that's horrible. I do want to. There's one
such
cool
an
piece of
asshole
trivia
about
that
it,
I loved. I don't think the townspeople are that great. They remind me of the Wicker Man townspeople, and I love that. But I don't
They're
think
just
it's like
islanders, dude.
Good. Yeah, they're islanders.
What's wrong with people on islands?
I don't know. Something's wrong with
Weirdos.
them. The scene where the grieving mom confronts Brody and slaps him is so good. But I found out that like several decades after the release of Jaws, the person who played Mrs. Kittner walked into a seafood restaurant and noticed that the menu had an Alex Kittner sandwich, which is the kid who dies, which is really fucked up. She commented that she had played the mother many years ago, and then when she left, the owner of the restaurant ran out to meet her and revealed that he was Jeffrey Voorhees. He's Jeffrey Voorhees, the person who played Alex Kittner, her son, and they hadn't seen each other since they did
What?
it. And they like hugged, and it
And
was
then
this
he
like
owned
really
a
sweet
seafood
moment.
restaurant?
Yeah, he owned a seafood restaurant, and he put that in there. But
Wow.
like, and they like re-embraced. That's
there are
beautiful.
so many layers to that story that need deep diving that we don't have time for.
Yeah. Anyways, I
That's
give it a
amazing.
6.
How did he He played the kid that Jaws, the second of Jaws' victims in the movie Jaws.
Yeah.
And then did he try acting and then it didn't work? And he was like, I guess I'm just going to fry up some oysters.
I think a lot of kid actors end up like actually not being actors when they get older. It's
But
just
then
that they
he
were, like,
parlayed
cute enough to be in it.
his role as a victim of Jaws into a
joke.
seafood restaurant.
Yeah, and a seafood
And a
joke.
a sandwich joke.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So wait, you gave it a 6? No. That I honestly think that story is amazing, and there are many.
What was in the
layers to it.
sandwich? Was it a shark
Alex
sandwich?
Kittner. He just chopped up little bits of himself and puts it in a sandwich.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Anyways, let's move on to our next category. Our next
Yuck.
category is eye candy, which is where we talk about all the visual elements of the movie.
All the visual elements.
Let's start with Josh.
Can we just get the Meg over with?
Yeah, let's start with the Meg.
It's a 1, yeah?
No,
Actually, no.
No, it's a 1.
I didn't give it a 1.
I'm hovering.
Oh, I forgot about my score.
I'm hovering between a 1 and a 2.
Okay, why?
Clearly, it had $150 million budget. Clearly, all of that went to CGI because the only star in the movie is Jason Statham. Really, like big star.
Yeah. Do you know
of
the two Chinese actors are like big in China?
I feel like the person who plays Su Yin is like big. I've seen her before.
Oh,
She's
okay.
not good. But
No, not in this.
well, not in this. I don't know. I don't like. This is a personal thing. I do not like CGI digital underwater like color fucking mashing.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It's why I don't want to see Aquaman, and why like when everyone's like, dude, but it looks so beautiful. Like Aaron and Jimmy kept saying, it's not good, but it looks beautiful. I love looking at those colors. I legitimately don't like looking at it. Like it's aesthetically not pleasing to me. I don't find. It's like color mashing movies, like Pacific Rim. Like
Right.
people are like, but it's so cool, and the monsters are like fighting, and I go, no, it literally looks like colors are beating each other up.
Right.
I feel like even the exciting scenes. So this is what I was talking about earlier. There's a scene where a whale comes up to the thing, and then the shark like bites it out of nowhere, and it's supposed to be like a shocking scene. And Aaron was like, "Whoa, that was actually really cool." I thought it looked so stupid. I thought it looked like a video game.
Here's the thing.
Interlude.
I saw this movie for free. I did not pay to see this movie in a theater. I want everybody to know that.
Right. You technically paid for Movie Pass.
I did. It was a movie pass for me.
R.I.P.
On a big screen, it really doesn't look amazing, but it's not as bad as something like Aquaman. Like it looks better than that. It looked better than that in a theater. On a TV, doesn't look good. I gave it a 3 because it's not the worst CGI I've ever seen.
It's up
And
there.
that would be reserved for a 1. No, Aquaman is up there, down there.
But everyone that came out of
Down where it's
Aquaman
wetter.
that liked Aquaman was like, it looked beautiful. Like Sean Fennessy.
But here's the thing about that though, they're wrong. It doesn't. An octopus plays the drums. An octopus does not play the drums in the Meg.
Yeah, but then I saw the scene that I'd never seen Aquaman, and Nick told me, all you need to know is that an octopus plays the drums. And in my head, I literally thought in its tentacles it had drumsticks, and it was playing the drums that way. And somehow it's a little bit better that it plays
It's
it
not.
with its
It's
actual
not better.
tentacles.
It's not better. I just like it's. I don't know. There's some other things about it too, like the design of the shark. They spent a long time trying to get it to look scary. There's the scene where the bigger shark jumps out that is legitimately surprising and like jumps on the boat where the littler
It
shark.
looks really bad. For me.
It's cool looking.
I know. For me, it does. I
I
this is
understand,
personal.
but I don't think. I mean, it's not above average. I don't think it's even average, but I don't think it's the worst CGI I've ever seen. So I gave it a 3.
True. I mean,
There's
there
also
are,
some
like,
cool things they did with sounds, and that doesn't fit into this. I don't know where it was supposed to go, but like the octopus sounds, they spent a long time trying to get them.
I guess you could kind of put it into here because they're trying to show it to you.
like the suction sounds. They tried different suction and
Yeah,
put the mics inside a car and just started like.
That scene is. Oh, really? I love the
outside
stories
trying
of
to
like
figure it
how
out.
people do that. My brother, because he went to Berklee College of Music, like in one of
Oh,
his
is that what he
early
studied?
classes. Yeah, but he did sound engineering. But
Okay.
In one of his classes, he had to recreate the sounds of the opening scene of Alien, just using shit around his house.
Yeah.
And I watched him do it. It was
I told
really
you I
cool.
played a round of golf, my brother and I, with the guy who worked on the staff for Schindler's List doing that?
Yeah, it's so,
so
weird.
weird.
I've watched videos of how they do it. I do have a transition, I guess, unless you have like a couple more notes about eye candy.
No, I can't.
I'm gonna
talk
give it a
about that
2.
anymore.
I agree with you. I do
Okay.
think it's not the worst. As a transition, I think the difference between Spielberg and a fucking hack is like in the details of these movies.
Yes.
Visual
Yes.
details. Like, here's one specific thing that happens in Jaws and in The Meg. In The Meg, they show up to this wreckage, and they're pulling up parts of the wreckage, and one of the things they pull up is very clearly a prosthetic arm. And it's hanging and dangling. There was a moment where they were supposed to do that in Jaws when he finds the girl, when Chief Brody finds the girl at the beach at the beginning, and Spielberg was like, "No, that looks so fake," because they used a prosthetic arm. He goes, "That looks too fake. We can't do that." So they buried you say buried, right? Buried a girl and like let like one of her like arms and legs like hang out,
and then
which
like,
is fucking dope.
and then like use the makeup to make it look,
like dead.
bloated and dead.
Yeah, and that's what I love. I appreciate every little.
Yeah, because Jaws isn't necessarily until you see Bruce, the animatronic shark that they used.
Oh yeah, I forgot they call it Bruce.
to make Jaws. I think there were 3 of them.
You don't see it until late.
Yeah, the movie's not really about how scary a shark is.
Yeah.
It's about how scary this
Societal like,
this
reactions
situation is. And so like a lot of the movie's creepiness are like manipulating the camera and the way something is shot and the actors to give you a sense of like claustrophobia or isolation.
Great point.
There are just so many scenes that are so well shot. We talked about some of the iconic scenes already. Like we don't have to like beat a dead horse, but like it's so perfectly creepy at times, and you're so alone. And every shot of Quint on the pulpit or hunting the shark is amazing. It's like the sense of like they're gonna do it, they're gonna get the shark, and then they just don't. And then you're like, what is wrong with this shark? What is this like?
Why is the shark coming after them and stuff?
And then there's like this kind of, I don't know, it leads you to this sense of like, is the shark like a real shark? Is this thing like a demon? Like you get this like the shark becomes its own character and has all of these characteristics that are really not like they're not described to you. They're like the feeling you get because of the way the movie frames everything.
Right.
And not necessarily frames the shark itself. Until the cage scene and you see it swim by the boat and you're like, wow, that's like the practical effect of it.
Yeah.
Really works.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, here's the thing, like you could really tell like where the problem is with how blockbuster movies have changed over time. Like studio execs think, oh, let's just spend $150 million to make it look really cool, and let's just focus on CGI, and that will make the movie more exciting because we could do so many more things. Bitch, no. Spielberg made this movie with $7 million. That is insane.
Yeah.
He was like, this is the first one where it's like very clearly master of budgets. The production design is incredible. They created an animatronic shark, and
three animatronic
sharks, and it caused like crazy problems. Dude, he was 28 years old when he started filming this movie. They came to him when he was 26, before the book was released. It was supposed to be like released with the movie or whatever. They came to him. He was 20, younger than us.
Yeah.
When he decided to do this. And like it's so incredible visually, and like Bill Butler is the cinematographer, and he's great, but I think this is one of those movies where you can really tell it's Spielberg's vision that helps the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
He tells that it's the film movement where the actors are moving within the screen, the claustrophobia like you're talking about, the production design. It's like the actor wrangling in general, like where like background characters are moving and stuff is so cool. Because he doesn't show the shark until the end, like you're saying, it doesn't age poorly. The animatronic. There's one moment where it does.
Scene where it doesn't age super well.
I think when it hits the cage, it looks really good.
Yes.
Like when it's underwater, it looks really good.
Yeah.
It's right after that cage scene when it pops back up. It looks very clearly like a fake shark.
Yeah,
but
my one is the end when Brody goes to shoot the pressurized air tank.
Yeah,
it
looks a little
looks
silly.
like plastic.
Right. But like the main
But
thing
it is, and it was made in
overall-
1975.
Right, it's made in 19... But the main thing overall is that Spielberg can show you, with all of his movies, but he can really show you, like, the visual things that are supposed to help aid the spectacularity, the engagement level. You don't need to think too hard about it. Be more specific with your details and your characters and stuff. I found this movie so much more entertaining and engaging because of the way he shows it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's...
Is that a transition into Originality?
I think I'm going to give it a 7. I was on a 6. I think I'm going to give it a 7.
You gave it a 7?
No, I'm going to give it a 6 because
In-
I still don't think
in
it's like the best
eye candy?
cinematography.
No. I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 6.
I gave it a 6.
Okay.
So
Let's do Originality.
Let's summarize here. The Meg has 5, 6, 7. 7 from me so far. I think it has like a 5 from you.
Yeah, it's something bad. It's going to be easy to add at the end.
Yeah. Which means the Meg is losing pretty badly at this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, it's not even a good movie. But all right, let's talk about Originality. Originality is like the creativity about the movie and like whether it needed to be made, especially if it comes from source material, which both of these
are based on books about sharks. Shark books.
And then where does it stand out in the genre? Like, does it stand out? Is it
the genre
unique?
being movies about sharks, for
Or
which
like
Jaws
blockbusters
is
even.
ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Is that
I
the
mean,
word when
ubiqu-
something has the name? Something is associated so specifically with one thing. It's ubiquitous for that thing.
It'd
No?
be
Am I
like
using that
generic.
wrong?
It's like whatever the noun is for generic. It's what happens in like with trademarks and stuff, like Kleenex or whatever. Once it becomes synonymous with you now say Kleenex instead of tissue paper, so it becomes generic because you've used it so often.
Yes, that's true.
But ubiquitous is like if it like it
Constantly encountered.
has to do with
widespread.
everything. Yeah.
All right, fine. I used the word wrong.
Okay.
Sue me.
So Jaws is like tough because I kind of want to give it a 7 because it kind of created this
Synonymous.
whole genre.
Synonymous?
Yeah.
Damn it.
I mean,
All
but
right,
you
go
did
ahead.
say synonymous while you.
Go ahead.
This is a mess. Jaws is like so many things are based off of Jaws. Like it created this genre.
So many things are based
and it's
off of
based
it.
on a book. But it was adapted by the author of the book, and it was created. The movie went into production before the book was even released. They were like together.
Yeah.
So I don't find that unoriginal.
No, Benchley, the author that wrote Jaws, I've read his other really popular book I think it's called Beast. It's about a giant squid. He's a real ocean kind of guy.
Yeah, he probably loves like.
He's not an
tentacle
amazing
porn.
writer, but he's really good at exactly what Jaws is good at. What I'm trying to say is he obviously had a hand in writing this.
He did. I mean, he wrote the
Yeah.
screenplay. Yeah.
And you can so yeah, for your exact reason, I don't think that that's a knock that this is based on a book because he basically wrote the movie too. The author of the book basically wrote
Yeah.
the movie or helped to write the screenplay. So it's like the same.
Yeah.
So I gave
mean,
it a 6.
So that's where it's a 6, and there are some things that almost get it to a 7 for me, and I think I kind of want to discuss a little bit about the ideas. I really like what you said earlier because I made the same note of this movie isn't about the shark. It's about the people and the characters themselves and how people react to something like this, and it's the movie in the script is so methodical in its story structure and character development. And it's kind of a fucking shame that people think that blockbusters don't need to be that way anymore.
Yeah.
Big blockbuster movies, besides some Marvel movies, are not really that well thought out. They're more spectacles. And I think that this movie shows that you don't need to do that. The movie is about intelligence and precaution being drowned out, pardon the pun, being drowned out by arrogance and ignorance and
Yeah, it's about how arrogance and-
bureaucratic bullshit.
Yeah. It's about how capitalism's really not very safe.
Exactly. Capitalism's not safe. The way that the town politics work is just
Yeah.
awful. The scene when Hooper is angrily examining the dead girl from the beginning, and he's like, "What the fuck
It
is
turns
wrong
again, he
with
goes,
you
"This
people?"
was not a boat accident." And
Not-
the guy's he gives this look
Brody
yeah,
was
duh.
"I know, I tried to say it, but I
Yeah.
can't do anything because I'm the sheriff or the."
They try to
police
cover up the
chief."
death of a teenage girl by being "Oh, it was a boating accident." Dude, she was ripped apart by a massive shark.
I honestly feel like Brody in that scene reminds me a lot of the governors right now that are I can't do anything about this because it is a federal issue and we need like funding for stuff like that. I don't want to get it too much into the politics, but like
it's just
I
such
do
a
think
good
it's very
allegory.
similar.
And you're right. Like, it's not about the shark. It's about rising to the occasion.
Right.
For the safety of people you care about.
Right.
In Brody's case, it's about revenge and the power
Shaw.
of revenge for Quint.
Yeah.
And then it's about the importance of scientific study
Yeah.
for Hooper. Like, there
Yeah.
are these three, like, perfect encapsulations of, like, what drive people. I was going to say men, but they could very easily have been subbed out for women.
I guess
Except for Quint. I don't know if there's too many, like... I mean, you know what? If you're a seafaring woman who is searching for a beast to kill in order to fulfill a need for vengeance, shoot us an email. Let us
shoot
know.
us an email. We'll develop a movie for you.
Hashtag feminism.
I'm trying to think of like why I'm not giving it a 7. I think it's just that it's not like the most overly complicated story. I think those ideas
that's
are
exactly
there.
why I didn't give it a 7.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a really like brilliant movie overall. It is a blockbuster overall.
It's
but,
amazingly
yeah.
simple. The plot of
Yeah.
the movie is extremely simple. It's not very complex.
That's, like,
so that's
best
why
way
I
to put
didn't
it.
give it a 7.
What about originality for the Meg?
It's a 1 because it's the worst kind of unoriginal.
Yeah.
This is what we were talking about before. That's all I'm going to say. If you make a movie 33 years after a movie that is synonymous with a very specific genre, like Jaws is, you can't try and take the plot almost like the way that the shark is.
No, I get what you're.
They
talking
try and
about.
defeat
Yeah.
the shark is almost exactly the same as in Jaws if you really look at it, and you just can't do that if you're setting out to make what is obviously a CGI-driven B movie.
Right.
To like try and grab some money from like the Chinese viewing.
Yeah,
populace.
and
That's what happened.
And that really is what happened. And I just I think you're right. There's no original concepts here. I don't find anything in the story interesting. I think
They call back too many times to Jaws. Just make a different movie.
Yeah, I also just like even without the Jaws thing, I don't think there's anything that stands alone in this movie. Like even the deaths in the movie are literally all predictable. It's one of the more predictable movies.
The
that you
black
can
guy
watch.
doesn't die first though, so
That is true, but that's just because of hashtag wokeness. Here's the big question we ask with originality, and this is the big question the big answer that tells you why it's a 1. 100% did not need to be made.
Nope.
We did not benefit at all from this being made, and that leads me into our next category, our final category, which is called legacy, and this is where we talk about where this movie stands in the history of movies, and what its lasting legacy will be. And I really can't see why it's not a 1, and maybe you can convince me otherwise.
Okay.
Because I know it made $500 million, which is really not that much considering they spent $150 million, and it was very
a little
clearly
bit less than 3 times the budget.
Yeah, and it was very clearly designed to only make money.
Yeah.
I gotta say the audience and critical ratings for this movie are highly bizarre. A 5.7 on IMDb is just insane.
It's because
46% of critics on Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes liked this movie.
I just don't think they took it very seriously.
But I don't even think as a B movie, it's fun enough to say, like, I get when there's a shit movie, like The Room, I would be okay if The Room got like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Because it's not a good movie, but it's so entertaining.
So bad that it's entertaining.
Exactly.
But that's not like where this movie, I think this movie hit a sweet spot because there aren't a lot of other shark movies. And it came out in the summertime.
There are so many Sharknado.
I know, but not like that are such a spectacle like this one.
Oh, I see what you mean.
They
Okay.
all take like a different take.
I know.
They try and like hit the claustrophobia thing, or like
like Crawl, I guess, which is
yeah,
a shark,
or like the Blake
tower.
Lively 47 meters down. Is that one?
Yeah.
Whatever. They take that angle. None of them take this like Megalodon is a very scary and not universally known, but well-known kind of prehistoric monster. Yeah. And there's no Megalodon movies that are big blockbuster movies. So this movie hit a sweet spot. I think that's where some of those critic things come from. It's clearly designed to hit the Chinese market and like get a bunch of people to pay for it there. No, I mean that was why it was what it was crafted for. Like it's made for that reason. I gave it a 4, not because I like it.
Fuck me. God,
Not because I like it, but because it made almost 3 times its massive budget. It's clearly very popular overseas. It spawned. They're making a sequel.
No.
The books are. There must be like a niche genre here, but they're rather popular, and there are a lot of them.
I'm actually
they
thinking about
sound cool. I kind of want to read them, but
I don't think anything was boosted over time by it, or is going to be boosted over time by
no.
like
People
the direct.
still know. Like I would be curious to see because it just dropped onto HBO. How many people are watching The Meg out there right now on HBO? Just like
I do know there
stupid
are like
movie
people that
brings
were
me
like,
smiles.
"Oh, I want to watch." Like Kevin was like, "I want to watch it. Is it scary?" And like everyone's like, "Is it scary?" It's not fucking scary.
it's not
If you
scary.
are scared by this movie, I don't know what to tell you, but I don't think you're
Yeah.
a functioning human being.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? It's like I was wondering because like this seems like such a young director's type of movie to like make a name for themselves. This director was actually the guy who did 3 Ninjas, the National Treasure movies, and Cool Runnings. So
there's a How Did This Get Made about the Meg that I tried to listen to, but that,
I
that
wanted to listen to it.
paywall.
I knew it had to be a paywall one. I don't know. I guess I'll give it a 2. Sure.
They're making a sequel, man.
I know. It's
Speaking of
like technically it's
sequels-
gonna have a legacy. Let's talk about Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws has like a million sequels. They're all on HBO. I kind of like want to deep dive into all like really bad sequels that just get worse over time.
Yeah.
It's a 7.
Yeah.
It is the quintessential
Oh,
like that.
whoa.
Like summer movie.
Yeah.
It's the quintessential shark movie.
Yeah.
So many memorable characters. So many
the
sequels.
response was just like
98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
hitherto undreamt of.
Yeah, it's not.
The
how you use
response
that.
was insane. No, it was because it would never happened before. That's what hitherto
yeah.
undreamt of means. First summer blockbuster, really, and 67 million people saw it that summer in theaters. It made $471 million off of a $7 million budget.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane. It got nominated for 4 Oscars. It won 3. It only didn't win Best Picture because One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won everything, which I actually disagree with. Forever scarred people.
Yep.
I'm forever, even in a pool. Every time I'm in a pool, I always think there's a shark in it.
Yep.
Such an iconic score, exactly.
Never.
And, like,
I mean, if I could give it an 8,
and I'm never
I
ever
would've
gonna
given
forget
it
that
an 8.
man's tits. Like that old man's tits are gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. All right, let's add it up.
And I just want to say it has a second wind of relevance because of its uncanny. It's uncanny how good of an allegory it is for the current situation
Yeah,
that we are all in.
it's exactly what's happening.
Dude,
right now.
I hate the phrase "the current situation" right now. By the way,
yeah,
I really tried to avoid saying that statement, but
Yeah.
every time I get an email, it's like because of the current situation.
and it's always like American Airlines or something.
Yeah.
like
All right, what
yeah,
do we got?
so let's add it up. So I gave Jaws a 32 out of 35. I think you might be the same.
Let's see.
You gave 2 7s, right?
Yeah, it's 32.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
We almost never agree
At
identically.
that number, yeah. Except for Parasite. Because
So that's 64. And then I gave the Meg. It's gonna be higher than yours.
way higher.
12.
I gave mine an 8.
Yeah.
Which is the worst so far for me.
20 to 64.
I
Dude, I think
legitimately
Lucy-
could have given it a 1.
Lucy is a worse movie. I think you're. Yeah.
I think Lucy is the worst movie, but I don't think that every single moment of Lucy is so like purposely as fucking awful as a movie could be. And I think every single moment of Jaws or of the Meg is like not good.
Well, here's to swimming with bow-legged women. Let's get into the
Accolades, yeah. Let's
accolades.
give out some awards. So let's start with MVP.
I'm gonna end it with a quote. By the way,
Oh, you'll
I
do the
wanna
send
do it.
off. Okay. Because I was thinking of like that's great.
I got it. I was gonna use the one I just used, but I have a better one.
I was just gonna cut in Quint's screaming as he dies.
No.
But I don't know if we should
Dude,
end it that way.
the snap
Yeah.
when it gets him.
All right, who's your MVP?
Teeth.
Oh. Okay.
Teeth are good.
Yeah, teeth are good. I'm gonna be a little more serious on this, like John Williams or Steven Spielberg for me.
Oh, for
Like,
sure.
That I just like.
I went jokey on this one. Safety precautions would also be an MVP if people actually used them.
No, I don't. I think they actually lost in both.
They
of these.
did.
Who are your LVPs?
Rich people.
Sharks. Sharks fucking lose.
They did
baby.
lose, but
well, in the Meg, I guess more sharks won because they all got to eat.
They all did
the Meg.
eat.
Everyone who paid for the Meg is an LVP. If you went to the theaters and paid for it and you walked out satisfied with your money, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. And anyone who likes movies like that, I'm kidding. You people are allowed to like whatever they like.
Yeah.
I'm
the
just
LVP
gonna berate you.
for me was rich people. Everyone that dies is wealthy, pretty much,
Quint,
except for Quint. He owns a boat.
dude, it's a really shitty boat, and he
Orca's
needed
not a
bigger
shitty
one.
boat. It's just not a good one.
It's not
or
good.
it's not big enough.
All right, it's like not even what I would think a fisherman would have. It looks like an old drunk
You
would
just
have.
said fisherman, so weird.
Fisherman. All right, who's your sixth man? The person who did the most with the
Pippin.
least.
Pippin the dog from the Meg.
Okay, I think it's the mayor or the grieving mom.
Oh,
This is-
you really took the serious route on these.
only on those. It's
Okay.
about to get stupid.
Pippin the dog is the sixth man, dude.
Yeah.
Pippin. Pippin. That's like the best part
I
of the
actually
Meg.
have Pippin.
He survives.
That's my comeback player.
Is it really?
Yeah, because he fucking
See, that's the
survived.
only category I took seriously. I gave it to Brody because I never thought that he was the best of the three. And he just climbs up the leaderboard.
Yeah, he's. I mean that
performance
acting is so good.
yeah,
by
it's so
Schneider.
subtle and great.
He's won an Academy Award, I think, for The French Connection.
Oh,
And
really?
then- yeah, he's really good in this other movie too that he was nominated for.
Huh.
Yeah, comeback player. I mean, I don't really have a serious one. I don't even know how to say because I think everyone in Jaws is great the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
That are great, and then in the Meg, no one redeems themselves in the Meg.
Pippin the dog.
Yeah.
Who are your all-stars? Who's your squad?
All-stars. Schneider, Shaw, Dreyfus,
Yeah.
the mayor, Mayor Vaughn, and then either Pippin or the little girl.
Fair. I went Brody, Quint, Hooper. I went Statham just because.
No.
Just because Jason Statham is actually used to be a world-class diver.
Oh, cool.
In
But
real
I bet
life?
he didn't even do it for the movie.
He did.
Oh.
He did almost all of his own stunts.
Oh.
There were only a couple that were too dangerous, and they didn't want to accidentally kill Jason Statham.
That's pretty cool.
But he's actually like a
Tom
world-class-
Cruise is going to space, so I'm not impressed by Jason
Let's
Statham.
plop. Let's see his diving skills, dude.
I guarantee you, Tom Cruise is like the best diver
I'm going
in the
Statham, and then I'm going Bruce the Shark.
world. Okay, that's fair. That's a good one. Do
The
you have an
animatronic
Infant
Bruce
Troopin'
the
Award
Shark?
for dumbest moment.
Anything in the Meg? I mean,
The beach
the
sequence
beach.
in the Meg.
Yeah.
I forgot to shout out how great of a camera angle it is when the camera's inside the ball that
Yeah.
the guy is riding. If the whole movie was filmed from that guy's perspective,
I think the
inside
Infant
ball-
Troopin' Award, I was honestly going to
Dude.
give it to when that ball is popped. Because you just know that the ball the man is in is going to get popped by the shark's jaws.
Well,
And you're
that's
just like,
actually what I'm wondering is we don't do facelifts anymore.
Oh, we haven't done that in a long
But
time.
if I were to facelift, I have a great idea for like a short film, and it would just be like a big shark attack situation. Everyone like flees, and that guy's like trapped in the ball, and he's out there the whole time, and it's all told from the perspective of inside the
a
ball.
man lost at sea in an
In the ball.
inflatable
Yes,
see-through ball.
and he's like a party boy.
amazing.
Yeah,
And it's Zac
gonna make
Efron.
that.
And he's so
Yes.
chiseled.
Oh, and he would be so funny.
He's so
Okay,
chiseled.
I'm into that. The hitherto undreamt of award for best moment.
Is that really what we're going to call that?
No, I just like saying that.
Dude, Quint's death.
Yeah, it's so
and
quick.
also, I mean, everything that happens in the cage scene,
Cage?
scene,
Yeah,
cage goes in the
yeah.
water,
Cage
you
goes
go in the water, shark's in the water,
Yep.
our shark. Everything that happens in that scene is so like palm sweaty, kind of.
Knees are heavy.
Yeah, vomit on spaghetti already.
Or
Spaghetti
did I say
already.
knees are
Vomit
heavy?
on
I don't think
his
that's
sweater already. Mom spaghetti.
Yeah, no,
Makes
that's
my
a great
palms
scene.
sweat, dude. It's so, like-
I think it's the most I like that or the beach scene that I was talking about earlier, and then the drunk conversation between
Amazing.
Shaw
Yeah.
and
Hooper.
Hooper and Quint.
Hooper and Quint with
is
Shaw.
just like
yeah,
that's
or with, Brody,
like
like,
I love
away.
those type of movies. That's just such a fucking good scene. Any recommendations of other movies that people should watch? Don't watch Capone. I like I don't want to hear from you if you saw Capone thinking that it was going to be awesome because Tom Hardy is weird as shit in it, and then you're like, what did I just do? Like, why did I pay for? Just don't do it. You're not. I promise you, you're not going to enjoy it.
First 20 minutes of Jaws 2. Watch that and
Okay.
tell me if you ever want to be on a boat and reach into the water ever again.
I'm on a boat and
I will never put my arm over the side of a boat in the ocean. Never. No.
yeah.
Watch the first 20 minutes of Jaws 2.
Have you seen?
The rest are bad.
This isn't really a shark movie, but I really want to rewatch Master and Commander, the Russell Crowe fucking dope ass exploring movie.
Should we do Master and Commander versus Battleship?
Those are so different.
They're both
that's
about
hilarious.
boats. I don't
Yeah, I
understand.
think one's about aliens or something. Yeah, I don't really
How are
have
they
any
different?
like specific ones. Next week though,
Cue
we're gonna
music?
do
Music.
Joker versus Taxi Driver,
Yeah.
and Taxi Driver can be found on Netflix right now, and Joker is now on HBO. And we'll see what the deal is, if Joker really is just a shitty comic book like copy of Taxi Driver. Who knows?
We will be the final version.
And our buddy Ken Holloway, previous guest of the pod, will be on that episode. You can find us on social media. We're on Instagram, instagram.com/facingoffpod. I threatened everyone that if we didn't get 100 new followers by this week, I'd have to kill you all, and I'm unfortunately have to report we only
Cut
got
the pod.
10 new followers.
Cut the pod. He's
But
gonna
yeah,
make a threat.
hey, if you know anyone that's not following us on Instagram, go do that. It's really fun, and I got movie recommendations for
Yeah.
you. You can also find us on Twitter, twitter.com/facingoffpod. We're so fucking funny on Twitter. Look us up. Well, Nick is pretty funny on it, but if he doesn't think so, I don't know. And then you can send us an email at facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. Nick, hit us with the send-off.
Tell me that this line is not just the most indicative of what we are dealing with right now.
Okay.
Obviously, think metaphorically. The mayor says at one point, you yell barracuda. Everyone says, huh? What? You yell shark, and we got a panic on the 4th of July.